Hi everybody, how are we? Hope you're well. Kamsa Kija here. This is Inspire YG. Inspire YG is an acronym for Young Generation. So this is a platform that I started a couple of years ago when I was at uni. Oh well, right after I finished uni. And I started it because I felt like there's something there. I had something to share based on my lived experiences as an international student, as a human being in this universe. And I felt we have this platform and let's make good use of it. But basically, I moved to Australia a couple of years ago. I mean, it's 10 years. This year marked my 10th year in Australia. And I came here as an international student to study. And I did my first advanced diploma in business and marketing. Then I moved on to do a Bachelor of Social Work, and I did my electives. Major had a very huge interest in psychology. And so I pop in here, and I mean, I had a very interesting years at uni, or at least the 10 years I've been in Australia, I would call them interesting. They had heaps of ups and downs, but I wouldn't change any of that for the world. And I've always thought, look, I wouldn't say that I didn't know that I will one day move from my birth country, Kenya, to Australia. I never dreamt that I would move to Australia, but I always knew that I would move to a far country. I knew that as early as 6-7 year old, as early as I think I must have been 6 or 7 years old. So it has been an interesting journey, and like I said, it's been a whole decade. Can you guys believe that? So basically, I pop in here and I share part of my journey, part of that journey as an international student. I've done a lot of videos on this platform talking about that journey, things that I learned and things I would have probably not known much about, but actually learned throughout that journey. And so many things have been born on this platform. So thank you so much for popping in. If it's your first time, you're welcome. And subscribe. It's me. You will mostly see myself. I'm always, I'm in Sydney, and it's never, people are very busy. I'm in one of the busiest cities in the world. I know there are many busy cities in the world, but this is one of them. And so most often than not, I would even want to do a video with a friend, but we never, like, it's almost like impossible to find a mutual time. But I hope that in the near future, I'll be able to bring some of my friends, some of my acquaintances, people who've been on this journey like myself from different parts of the world, and they can share their experiences so that we have that kind of diversity of thought and diversity of experiences. So thank you so much. For those who subscribed, I appreciate you for popping in here, and please share this video if it resonates with you. Share it to your loved ones, share it with your friends. Today's video is an interesting one. I was reminiscing and doing a bit of reflection yesterday, and probably in one of my older videos, I've talked about this, and I've mentioned that part of something that I've really struggled with in life. And it's not easy to talk about what you struggle with. I feel like it's easier in the social media world. It's easier to talk about what you do best, or what you feel like you have a capacity for, as opposed to what challenges you. It's always harder to talk about your challenges. I find it harder to talk about my challenges. But I know that there is power, and there's actually power in sharing lessons from challenges, or sharing what you've been through, just so that somebody else trending that path for the first time could actually have an idea of how that feels like. So I have always struggled with worrying. Growing up as a Christian, in a Christian home, you're always taught you learn. I learned way earlier on in the Bible that it does talk about worry a lot, and I don't think there's any experience that we face that is actually not common to man, and especially that is actually not spoken about in the Bible. So I learned so much about, or I had growing up, the conversation about worrying and why we worry, whether worrying helps at all, and if it doesn't help, why do we do it? When I say we, I am included. So now I said I'll start this, so I got my notes here because I said I'm gonna write something so that I don't forget my train of thoughts. And I said, imagine being crazy enough to follow your dreams, which is what I did. I was that crazy girl 10 years ago. And my dream was actually I hoped that I would go to a country that can allow me to do and be who I wanted to be without being looked at as young, as a woman, without being looked at from any of those angles, without any limitations that might be created by the society, by culture, by religion, by anything else around me, or by other people's limitations or other people's fears. I wanted to be in a place or in a country that had democracy, first and foremost. I hope to be in a country that spoke languages I understood. Some of that, I didn't mind challenges. But language barrier was not one of the challenges I really looked forward to. So I hope to be in a country, I hoped at the time, 10 years ago, I hoped that I would move to a country where a language wasn't a barrier. I didn't have religion as a barrier or belief systems, and I wanted to be in a democratic country. And so moving to Australia sort of ticked all those boxes for me. And it was never an easy journey. It was never without fear. It was never a journey without fear. It is one of those you jump, just a leap of faith, to be honest, and trying to figure out what you're going to find on the other side of the world. So reminiscing a 10-year journey, it has felt like a roller coaster. From the day I decided to up and leave, or I had known, to go to a country I knew no one, and I didn't even know what I knew about Australia until I got here. That's when I knew, oh yeah, there are kangaroos in Australia, there's Hillsong in Australia, there's Neighbours and Home and Away in Australia. But until I got here, I don't think that's something I had thought about. But isn't God amazing, right? So I can't help but think about it often, how I made that decision and how that decision has got me this far. So some of the lessons that I feel I learned throughout the journey, and I'll talk about my challenge, my biggest challenge in life, which is worrying. I'll get to that. But some of those things that I want to talk about is what happens when you follow your purpose in life. And so, I learned that when you decide to follow your purpose in life without being imagine if you did not have any limitations, if your parents never told you, no, you can't study this course, or no, you can't go to this place, or no, you can't do this. If you didn't have any sort of things limiting you to do what it is that you desire to do, what would you do? And so what I learned is God aligned my life like how you could have pieces of puzzles, and He aligned them. And within those 10 years, I felt like all the puzzles just sort of went where they belonged. And before you knew it, I had a complete jigsaw puzzle. So what I learned is you will face challenges along the way, but these are not to hinder you. They are either to teach you a lesson, help you make a detour, or they help you grow a muscle to tackle even bigger challenges that will be ahead. And one thing that is actually a constant is challenges. They're actually going to come. They might not come today, but they will come tomorrow. So it's almost like a guaranteed. So evading challenges is not always a solution. Learning how to tackle them or gaining muscle to deal with them when they come, I found for me that's what had really helped me. So for people who like to for people who like to be in control of life circumstances, that's me. Yes, I'm those people, and those people are me. The journey can be tougher. because eventually you realize that most things in life are actually out of our control. And I learned this the hard way. I think for those of you watching, if you're a firstborn, I'm sure you might resonate with this. Firstborns are always trying to I'll speak for myself as a firstborn, but you can tell me down the bottom on the comment section if you're a firstborn, if you relate with this. So being a firstborn, you're told that you have to be reliable, you have to be dependable, you have to be an example. And most often than not, there's so much pressure that is put on you to have this persona where you're perfect, and other people, especially your younger siblings or people around you, need to look up to you. So you have to do the right things. Otherwise, if they derail, if they got to a different journey, it's because they looked at you and you failed. So there's so much pressure. However, I learned that so many things in my life has been things out of my control. And the heartache that comes to controlling things that are out of your control, oh, don't even get me started. The hips. So, for example, jobs, securing a job and starting your own business sometimes, whether these things are going to make, whether you're going to apply for that job, like what is in your control is actually to apply the job. Being called for an interview, it's a whole other ball game. It's completely out of your control. Getting to being invited for an interview and then passing the interview and actually getting the job is out of your control. You can do as much as you can, but you still are not the determinant of whether you get that job or not. Other factors are. Starting a business and it succeeding. Starting a business is your initiative. You decide, you make that choice. But whether or not the business is going to succeed is also sometimes out of your control. Having a safe and safe working environment. By safety, I mean holistic well-being, a place that allows for mental well-being, a place that has space for that, a space that has space for, enhancing a good, creating a good social cohesion or creating good relationship in the workplace. Those are things that are out of your control because you most often than not, when you get the job, you don't know the people you work with or you don't know the people you will report to. So illnesses, you don't wake up one day and say, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get sick. It's out of your control. Promotions, applying for jobs applying for scholarships, applying for universities and colleges, getting that acceptance letter is out of your control. Someone that you may never meet will actually sit on a board to determine if you get that letter of offer or not. Same thing with scholarships, and I've done a video on scholarships. I'll probably put a screenshot. I don't know whether I did a video on scholarship actually or is volunteering. I'll have a look. If I have, I will put it somewhere here. But getting scholarships and applying for them, because I've applied for countless scholarships in my life, I learned that it's also something that is out of my control. The people who decide whether actually you meet the qualifications of that scholarship, you will never meet them, but that's still what is in your power is applying for the scholarship, but actually getting the scholarship is out of your control. Meeting the love of your life, when you meet them, how you meet them, and whether you meet them and form a healthy, great, long-lasting relationship. There's still so much you can do within your power, but some things within a relationship are out of your control. And I feel like especially the idea or the institution of marriage, it was authored by God, the author of marriages, the author of, people, that institution. I feel like that's the person who could probably be in control of what the ins and outs of that relationship. Yes, there is what you can do, but there's some you cannot control, what your spouse does or what your husband does or what your wife does. That part is still out of your control. And having children, it's out of control. And then it's out of your control, sorry. But having little ones and knowing and believing and trusting within yourself that the responsibility that you've got is to bring them to this world and guide them to the right path. But eventually you will let them go because they don't belong to you. You know, they are a gift to you, but they don't entirely belong to you. That's why kids get to some point and they have to go and venture out there without you as a parent. As hard as it is, and I know I had this conversation with my mother a lot of times, and I've asked her, I mean, when I was born, did you ever think that one day I would tell you I'm flying miles away from you to go and follow my dreams and follow my purpose? So you can imagine how much that in and of itself tells you that as a parent, you really don't have control over your kids' future. You only have control, you only have the responsibility to take care of them and be there for them and support them, but they will still come on other than they're little humans with their own needs and their own purpose in life. They will have to follow that, most often without you as a parent. So that's also something that is out of your control. Losing loved ones, the whole process of grieving friends, grieving family members, all those kind of things are so out of our control. So many things are out of our control in life, but I haven't learned, not yet fully. I have not yet fully learned this concept, and I'm still on the journey of, fully practicing to take each day as it comes. Because when you're sort of trying to be in control of things, in control of life, most often than not, you're not living in the moment. And I find myself when I'm trying to, whether it's a project, whether it's work, whatever it is that I'm trying to put in order, quote unquote, it's not entirely in my power. And it's a journey because you don't have control over your past. You really don't have a control over your future. So you don't have control of yesterday. Sorry, you also don't have control of tomorrow. You only have control of now. And it's more a lesson that I'm learning and training myself to stay in the moment and live in the moment. So I went back to the Bible, which is probably where I've learned most of my life's precepts. And I learned, and there's a verse in the Bible that says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. That is in Matthew 6:34. And I've always told myself, every time I read this verse, I always tell myself, I know that. I've heard that countless times, but do I practice it? Every time I read it, I understand it differently depending on where I'm at in life. And it's just understanding that today has its worry. I can ask God for help, for support to deal with the worries of today, because His grace is sufficient for today. I will still need to ask Him for help tomorrow for the worries that will be there tomorrow. If God solved our problems, if God solved our tomorrow, our next month, our August problems, we will not need Him. So it's basically a hard thing, it's a learning curve for myself and for my faith as well. So, it also says, I also love the verse in 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, my grace is sufficient to you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And I love this because it makes me believe that whenever I'm not in control, then God is in control. And that means I'm not going to see myself as the be-it-all, as everything, or as, pat myself on the back or beat my chest and say, I did that. It's because of me. Everything I've had in life is because of me. It always reminds me that nothing that I've achieved in life has anything to do with me. I'm just a vehicle. I'm just a vessel. And all glory has to go back to God eventually. And God supplies us with as much grace as we need for every situation we face. Grace is what sustains us. And I've learned that grace is what has sustained me, especially being in a far country from the country of birth. I feel like grace is that unmerited favor that we get from God. It's receiving what we don't deserve. So I thought I'd share that today because that's what was in my spirit yesterday, yesterday night as I was reflecting on this. And I felt like I'll share this, I'll pour this out because someone somewhere could be someone somewhere could be going through the same journey, and I thought, let me share this. So let me know down the bottom if you resonate, if this whatever I've shared today resonates with you, and let me know how has your journey been, and what is it within your faith, the faith that you practice in everything you've learned within your faith. What is it that you still that still challenges you, that you're still practicing or learning or growing in that area every day? Share with me down the bottom. I would love to know. Thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate you so much. Share this video if you reckon it to to resonate with someone out there or to be a blessing to somebody. And until the next one, God bless you. Have a good one. Bye.